Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls. On today's episode, we'll be discussing if Patrick Williams should be included in any of these offseason trade rumors and if we see Patrick Williams being ultimately included in any major deal. We'll also be talking about and doing a draft profile on Jeremy Sohan. And then lastly, we'll be diving into the mailbag. All that and more in today's Locked On Bulls. Oh, you've been killing it lately with the albums, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. That's Pat, the designer, host, and creator of the Windy City Breeze, where he covers all Chicago sports. How's your catchphrase? I gotta get it right. It's Chicago sports talk. How Chicago talk? Is that right?
That wasn't right at all.
It's not
talking
right at all.
Chicago sports, how Chicago talk.
There you go. Give it to him. There. See, that's why it's your catchphrase, because I ain't doing it right. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central, where I cover the Bulls every single day. Now, let's go ahead and get into the topics for today, Pat. First up, we already talked about Rudy Gobert. Bulls reported interest there, but we've had some things come out today saying that the Bulls may be I don't believe it, but may be interested in including Patrick Williams in that deal. What do you think about Patrick Williams and being included in the trade? Do you think he's on the table, off the table? Do you think he should be included? I think with any type of Patrick Williams talk, it's important to state how we feel versus how we feel the front office feels, because I can say this, and I've been saying it for a long time. I think people confuse it as saying that I think Patrick Williams is untradeable. No, there are absolutely deals in which I would include Patrick Williams in, but I don't see this front office doing that, and that's the key difference in there. Well, how do you feel, Pat?
I think it depends on who the trade is for. How does it fit with the team? I think that AK is smart enough. Now, granted, he is more tied to these players, right? Because these are now players that he's drafting. It was easy to trade Larry Markkinen. He didn't draft Larry Markkinen. It's easy to trade Wendell Carter Jr. He missed a wide open dunk in the middle of a game, and then he wasn't tied to him. I think it'll be pretty easy for him to trade Kobe White because he's not tied to Kobe White. He drafted Patrick Williams. He's the one that gave Patrick Williams his NBA opportunity. I think then it becomes a little bit harder. You value your own assets a little bit more. The thing for me is, and especially in the Rudy deal, right? Like, what do you count Rudy Gobert as? What do you count the player that you're trading for as? I think the Lakers are overvaluing THT right now. With how they're saying that you have to get an all-star caliber player back. Hey, I got to tell you this. If I'm sending you an all-star caliber player, I need an all-star caliber player back. That ain't THT right now.
Yeah.
You're trying to hype up his value. I think that if AK felt that you were getting back a top-tier star or somebody that could grace superstar level, you would see Patrick Williams move. Other than that, you're not going to see him moved for a nice player, a 20 to 22 point a game player. You're not going to see him move for a Jeremy Grant. You're not going to see him move for a THT. I think Rudy Gobert is a little bit closer to that mark, but you're probably still not going to see him move for a Rudy Gobert because Rudy Gobert is 29 and Patrick Williams is 20. And you feel like at the end of the season, you kind of saw him start to make a change for the better. That's yet to be seen, though. That this could be we really don't know the mind of AK. I mean, I think most experts have been wrong kind of on every turn on the moves that AK was going to make. Like, Lonzo Ball's maybe the one that we all got right. We all said, but it took Lonzo Ball.
He was linked a year before, so
it took Lonzo saying, "I'd love to play with Zach LaVine."
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Like, other than that, nobody called Vooch. Nobody called Alex Caruso. Nobody called, going to get Ayo Dosunmu in the second round. I didn't know who the heck the Bulls were taking in the second round.
Yeah.
So nobody called Patrick Williams
at all.
I literally was like, I wouldn't take him at 4, but hey, he seems like he could develop into something nice. So we don't really know what's going on in the mind of AK. Maybe he would move off of it, but I feel like based on what we saw last season and the names that were attached to him, you were looking for nice players where AK was like, Patrick Williams is going to be more than a nice player. You got to send me back something.
That's a good point. I think you know me. I try to look at the history of something to predict, like kind of what people's minds, because you'll never know unless you're actually in Batman's mind. You'll never know what Batman is thinking. To go back to that episode, if you guys remember that reference, but on average, AK does not trade players that he drafted. He just hasn't. Look, his whole Denver Nuggets career, he didn't trade very many players that he drafted. He allowed them. Now, he did trade some, but most of the time they got about 3 or 4 years to develop. So, with that being said, and how young Patrick Williams is, they're not going to trade Patrick Williams, I don't think, for anything that's a surefire, making them a championship contender type deal. Period.
I would agree. I don't think that there's, because, and you hear how even the players have talked, even the team has talked, right? I guess the concerning part is you're not hearing how Patrick has talked, but I think that you'll see him traded if, and it's a big if he shows you that he can play, but his mindset is not dog enough.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
If he's Andrew Wiggins, you might see him traded.
Okay. Here's my question to you, and this is just off the top of the head. Who are some of the players that you would trade Patrick Williams for? I'll go first just to give you some time to think. Of course, Jokic, that's no question. If that deal's on the table, you trade Patrick Williams, Patrick Williams' mama, his cousin, his future. You trade all of it. The Jordan statue, you trade it all. But some more realistic ones. Brandon Ingram, if he was on the table, I'd trade Patrick Williams for Brandon Ingram. Right now. Pascal Siakam, it would have to say what the rest of the framework of the deal is. Okay, OG and Anunoby.
You know what? I'd trade P. Will for Pascal probably straight up.
You see, me,
Pascal's proven.
I wouldn't. He is proven. He's basically what the optimal version of Patrick Williams may end up being. But yeah. So looking at that, I would.
I mean, if we're talking stars, send me KD. You have whatever you want.
Well, that goes without saying.
I mean, when you say Jokic,
yeah. I did start off with Jokic.
You know what I'm like? I didn't know we were throwing them in there. I mean, I could trade P. Will for LeBron. Let me see what's good with it. Take 2 years of Bron for P. Will. No, I feel like there's names out there because P. Will is so unproven, but that's kind of the tough part, right? Like you're trading him based on potential and the potential of what he can do, and you're hoping that potential pans out. And sometimes the unknown is more tradable than the known.
This is very much true. Very much true. It's gonna be interesting to see. Like off-season rumors be damn. Like I do trust that this. As we've been saying, AK and Eversley are going to try to improve the team the best they can. I don't know, the more that I've sat on that Rudy Gobert deal and thinking about, the fact that Alex Caruso or Patrick Williams would have to, just to make the money work, I've been less and less on it, which was my original stance anyway. But just the fact that the Bulls are even, in those talks that they've been reported to have, and some of it's just off-season content, but I just still think there's going to be a move that AK pulls out of the sleeve that we just do not expect at all. And I can't wait to get to that point, to be honest with you.
You know what? I think this actually might be the first year, because you want to figure out how far off your team was, right? Like if health is the issue, you kind of got to run it back to see like, okay, are they going to like not be healthy for a complete other season? Or are they good and we just need to add some pieces to them? You need more shooting. You need more defense. I think you might see a move for a Bogdanovich. I think you might see a move for a Mitchell Robinson. I think, like small, we need to add this to the team moves.
Yeah.
I think the move that might surprise us the most, I'll say this right now, is probably the draft.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be like, it's going to be some dude that we didn't look at one time, didn't break any tape down on. You're going to be like, what's he do? He shoots 3-pointers at a 78% clip. Well, where the heck was he? You know what I'm saying? Like that's going to be the guy that I think we're going to be surprised about. And you know what? It's because I think AK values the picks he's made. I think AK believes in Marco.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know if Billy does.
Yeah.
But I think AK does.
Yeah, listen. I have no doubt that AK believes in Marko Simonovic. Even when you look at the fact that he gave him the 3-year deal over Io the 3-year deal, that shows you, hey, listen,
He
we
might
think that
regret
this
that one a
guy,
little
yeah,
bit.
we think this guy's gonna be something.
He might regret that one a little bit. I ain't gonna lie to
He
you.
may. Keep in mind, like AK, as great as he is, every deal that he made has not been all great either. Don't forget, AK technically drafted Donovan Mitchell and traded him for almost next to nothing. You didn't really you forgot about that, huh?
I mean, next to nothing is tough, but
Trey Lyles and Tyler Lip. Come on, bro.
yeah, but I'm okay with Donovan Mitchell not being paired with Jokic.
This in long term view, I get what you're saying.
I'm okay with not having Donovan Mitchell and Jokic together.
But he did
Well, you
immediately
know what?
follow the next
Yeah, you
year.
know
He
what?
drafted Michael Porter Jr.
That banger. You know what? Donovan Mitchell might be better with Jokic, actually. I might have to rethink that.
Oh,
Because
yeah,
Jokic is playing point.
Yes, he does. And the way that he used, like, they've had some guards look great that had no business looking great because of the
Donovan
way
would
Jokic
actually
plays.
be a 2.
Yeah.
Donovan, you might need to drive on is Utah up or down from Denver?
Utah's up.
Utah's up. You might need to drive down to Denver there, my boy. Go ahead and get in on that.
I think I'm sure somebody's gonna be typing away like
I followed your lead
have
on it.
no at all idea about geography. Haize and Pat have no idea. Like, that's what somebody's gonna be in the comments saying right now.
Hey, I fly there, bro. We go over the mountains. It don't matter. The states ain't drawn out on the real world.
But next up, we're going to talk about Jeremy Sohan and do a draft profile on him. But first, got to talk to you guys about one of our sponsors, and that is Sakara. Now, feeling best starts with what you eat. Sakara helps you live healthy, balanced lifestyle, and truly enjoy it with delicious, plant-rich, transformational. God, why would they put that word in this read? Transformational nutrition
A regular word?
that builds a foundation for living in your best body. Sakara is a wellness company anchored in food as medicine on a mission to nourish your body through the power of plants. Their nutritionally designed, chef-crafted breakfasts, lunches, and dinners are made with powerful plant-rich ingredients, helping boost your energy, support your digestion, curb your sugar cravings, and get your skin glowing. Listen here, man. Listen, glowing skin is needed. You know, we got to post my melanin videos, but let's go ahead and keep it going.
And
Plus,
picture.
it's all picture. It's all delivered right to your door and ready to eat. And right now, Sakara is offering our listeners 20% off their first order when you go to sakara.com/LockedOn20 or enter code LockedOn20 at checkout. That's sakara.com/LockedOn20 to get 20% off your first order at sakara.com/LockedOn. All right. Pat, I've been loving these draft profiles, brother. I love talking about potential players to come. Huh?
I said they're fun.
Yeah, they are definitely fun. Jeremy Sohan is the next one up that we're getting ready to cover. Now, he's from Baylor, freshman, 19 years old, just turned 19 on March 20th. So he's pretty young, pretty raw. He would probably be more of an upside pick. Now, he does bring the one thing with him that he does bring: ability to rebound and nothing but pure energy. I make the comparison to Bobby Portis with him because it's just energy. He does a little bit of everything out there on the court. Now, so he's not quite the defender that Bobby Portis is, but maybe he can grow into that. He does have a nice defensive skill set, but he's just not where Bobby Portis is. But that 3-point shot, a little bit questionable at 29% overall. Field goal percentage at 47.4%. He averaged 9.2 points per game and 25 minutes per game. He wasn't really used very much on the offensive end, but he's projected to have a nice offensive ceiling for himself. But that energy, defense, transition, what do you think about Jeremy Sohan?
He's a guy to me that is going to be a very developmental piece. He's going to take some time to turn into the player that he is. He's a guy that can be a double-double guy in this NBA. The Bobby Portis comparison isn't a bad one, but the shooting percentages on Jeremy showing is up and down to me. And in some games, right, he didn't even get involved that much.
And that is concerning as a young
found
player.
a way. He found a way to kind of just be the coast through player. But listen, I like what he could be in the league. Again, we're talking about a lead like I don't think anybody we've talked about as a star, right? They're all role players. I think he's another guy that could come in and be a decent role player in the NBA. He's a guy that does bring a 6'9" wingspan. He's 6'9", not a 6'9" wingspan. He's 230 pounds. He's going to be a guy that's going to put some weight on, be able to bang with you down low. Like Chuck said, when a guy's banging you down low. But
whoa. How did we get here? But keep going.
I thought because Chuck said it was cool. I thought that's but there's better versions of him that we've talked about. That's how
there's a lot of versions of the same type of big in this
dude.
draft. Yeah.
Tari Eason's a better version of him. EJ Liddell is a better version of him.
He's a better version right now, but of course, Sohan's ceiling is, I think, much higher.
Sohan's 19 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, he's gonna have probably a higher ceiling. But it's about like we've said how many times on the show, it's about time you can take. Yeah. Bulls are in win now mode. Listen, when the Warriors were in win now mode, now granted, somehow they got the second pick in the draft. That's a talk about a re-up in the bag right there. But when the Warriors were in win now mode, they didn't go for a piece that was going to develop in 4 or 5 years. They went for James Wiseman, who absolutely could win with them right now. Now, granted, he can't be on the court. We don't know about that, but that's a whole different thing. But when he was on the court, he could play right now in the NBA. The Bulls are in win now mode. They're not talking about being a first round playoff team next season. They're talking about at a minimum being in the ECF.
I'm gonna throw again, not to disagree, but just for the interest of conversation, I'm gonna throw a little thing at you. What if AK pause? You definitely gotta say pause at that.
It's a tough segment, brother.
Listen, Nick is gonna he's gonna review one of our episodes one day and just be like, hey man, they have completely jumped the show.
They're off the rails. Get them out of here.
But what if AK and Eversley have looked at this team and said, hey, our true championship window is not in the next 2 years of having DeMar. Let's go for a player that's going to be ready to contribute in 3 or 4 years, big time. And the Jeremy Sohan, Tari Eason, Jalen Williams. Is that answer then? What do you think about that? Is there a chance that has happened?
You already bet on that. That's P. Will. P. Will's got to show you at a minimum something next season. But even with that, right, like that's still a developing piece. Even if he turns into an 18-8 player next year with excellent defense, guess what? 18-8 don't win you an NBA championship. It helps. But you still need to see a heck of a lot more development out of P. Will. We're still talking about P. Will possibly being 2 years away from the player that he's supposed to be. You've got that Nio DeSumo in next season. You've got that in, if AK believes it, in Marko Simonovic.
But I think that actually supports my argument, because if you have that many people that may not be ready for 3 or 4 years, why not add another one to really give yourself a chance? Zach LaVine at that point would still be 30 years old, Grizzly vet at that point. You have maybe Lonzo Ball, you have Nio DeSumo, you have Marko Simonovic, you have whatever this young draft pick. Maybe you are ready to go at that point.
There's something to re-upping with it, right? But I think the thing is, right, like the part we haven't talked about as much, we kind of talked about it early, was the possibility of them trading the pick, and that's come out more late. I think the thing with this team right now is, you're trying to win as much as you can with a DeMar DeRozan. And listen, you're trying to win as much as you can with a DeMar DeRozan that realizes his mortality in the NBA at this point. He's 33. He's trying to win a championship before he gets out of here. You're trying to win a championship with a Nikola Vucevic who realizes his mortality in this NBA at this point. Those pieces could be there 2-3 years from now, but even in that situation, right? Like that's like it's why I don't understand the quick turnover a lot of times, because when you look at it, it's going to take a couple of drafts for your guys to develop. We're now into year 3 of P. Will, which means we're going into year 3 of AK. And we're talking about his second draft class developing in a time frame to win a championship, as well as this one. It takes you finding that guy. None of these guys are that guy. None. I don't see. Do you see Jeremy Sohan as a guy that's going to be a star in the NBA 5 years down the road?
I'll say this. I don't think that it's outside the realm of possibility, but I don't see a star. No, I see him he being a very nice piece. You said role players, I don't know. You may use the term role players differently. When I think of role players, I'm thinking Matt Thomas. I'm I think that he's a player that can come in
Nah, that's a guy.
and okay, that's a guy. Okay, see,
That's
and
a
that's
guy.
everybody. People use
Matt
different
Thomas is a
phrases
guy.
differently. I feel what you. So now knowing what you mean by that, like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can absolutely see Jeremy Sohan being a player that has a role on the team that in doing he's very very good at that role and he makes things easier on the actual stars on the team. Absolutely, but a star himself, honestly, outside of the top 5, there's only like 2 other players that I see possibly having star potential in this draft.
Yeah, and we may be wrong, but like I agree with you. I don't
Yeah.
see a lot of stars in this draft. I don't see guys that are going to turn into
But a lot of quality role players.
lot of quality role players.
Yeah.
A lot of guys that can be 19, 18 point a game guys with 9, 10 rebounds. Guys that you look at and you say, "No, we need that guy."
But he's
But
not a star.
he's not going to be the reason that we go out and win a championship. I feel kind of the same way about every one of these guys at 18.
Okay.
I don't think Walker Kessler turns into a star. I don't think EJ Liddell turns into a star. I don't think Tari Eason turns into a star. I think Tari Eason might have the best upside chance of it.
Because he's so young.
He's so young and he's so athletic. And if you can give him a jump shot, he could be a star, right? Like if all of a sudden he starts shooting like Lonzo is, okay, now he's a star. Yeah. And they're probably one of these guys probably will turn into that. It's just how the NBA draft works.
It's going to happen. Somebody's going to turn into a star that we completely don't, and they're going to go back and be like, "Hey, y'all remember that episode y'all did 4 years ago? But guess what? Tari Eason's the best power forward in the NBA right now." Like,
and here's the thing: I hope every one of these brothers prove me wrong.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I can see, like, for example, I covered Malachi Branham today on Chicago Bulls Central, and I'll tell you what. I don't necessarily see him turning into a 20-25 point per game scorer, but he absolutely has that potential. And if he does, he can absolutely turn into at least a one of the best scorers in the NBA. I just don't necessarily see it for him, but there's absolutely a chance that may happen.
And that's the thing with it, right? It's the NBA draft. Like for me, a Jeremy Showen, yeah, he might be. He's got every intangible you want for him to have. He's got. But it's going to be 3-4 years down the line probably before he shows that at a high level.
Yeah, for sure.
Depending on the team he goes to.
Yeah.
Right? Because like if you go to a good team, you're going to be in a logjam. You go to a bad team, you get the short right away.
Watch out for the San Antonio Spurs pick at 25 because that's probably going to be the one that turns into a star late in this first round.
Of course it is.
Yeah. That's just how it works.
That's just how it
works. Shout out to Nikola Jovic too. Who's probably the one that I can see developing into a superstar.
For sure. Come on.
Yeah.
And he might. Where's he slated to go? He's
17 or 18.
Yeah, bro. Have we done Jovic yet?
We have not, bro. We got it next tomorrow.
How do we get Jeremy Showen before? Don't worry about it, man. Hey, before we get to this final topic, man, we're gonna get into some of you guys' topics, man. We appreciate you guys for sending us some mailbag and stuff and all of that. We have an important favor to ask you. We put together a little survey so that we can learn more about our listeners. We want to know about you guys, and we want to make your favorite podcast even better. This is your opportunity to tell us what you like and don't like about Locked On Podcast. Go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey right now to get started. Doesn't take you very long, and everyone that completes the survey can qualify for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Ticketmaster gift cards. To take our audience survey, go to lockedonpodcast.com/survey. Hey, we appreciate y'all for the help. Make sure you keep it respectful. We do fry people. We also got to tell you about BetOnline. BetOnline is the #1 source for all your betting stats and sports info. You can find the latest sports development news and odds, including this year's NBA championship matchup, the NHL conference finals, Major League Baseball, and of course, all the latest fighting news in MMA and UFC, and all the way up to boxing, man. Here's the thing. You get odds like my favorite is the prop bets. They got a Draymond Green odds of getting ejected. Somebody can win 3,000 for betting 100 on that. They hard had to be fluttering on that mug in that last game too, man, because Draymond was doing his best to get ejected in that. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and more. Head to the website today and use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and actions. Hey, BetOnline. That's where the game starts.
All right. let's go ahead and get into the last topic for the day. This is the mailbag. We love it when you guys send in voicemails. We love interacting with you guys. We do apologize that we don't get to it more often than what we should. Granted, we don't get a lot of voicemails right now. It's off season. So if you guys get more in, we'll work it in probably once a week during the season.
Send in them joints, man. If we get enough of them, y'all give us an episode for the week.
There you go.
Hey,
There
we
you
need
go.
help in
Especially
this
during the
off-season.
off season. These are the dark days. We're gonna go ahead and get into the first voicemail now.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Jamal back again with another voicemail.
what's
What's up, Haize? What's up, Pat? Just listening to your Locked On Bulls about the decision that the Bulls should go after either Mitchell Robinson or Rudy Gobert. And you both made excellent points. It was actually the debate that I've been waiting to hear you guys have, because I know you both on opposite ends. So I thought it was a debate. You both made excellent points. I'm still in favor of more of Mitchell Robinson than I am Rudy Gobert, because one, we can get him for cheaper. I think the biggest concern is, would he be willing to come off the bench versus starting? Like he is in New York, and would he be willing to come off the bench for us? Especially if he sees that he can contribute to winning. It basically all depends on what this man wants out of his career. Like, if he's at that stage where he wants more money and wants to start versus pay his role on a team that's really trying to contend, and might have to take maybe less than what he might get in other areas, depending, things like that.
All right, Pat, what do you think? Do you think Mitchell Robinson takes less to come to a potential Eastern Conference finalist team in the Chicago Bulls, depending on how they figure out the rest of the roster?
If he believes in it, he could.
Okay.
I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility, because the thing is a top team going to pay him more than we would?
That's a good point.
That's the part that a lot of people don't look at.
And the thing is that it's not like the Bulls have a bunch. They don't have any cap space, so all they can
No, it'd
offer
be a
the
mid-level
max is the $10.1 million. And the thing with that is that every contender that is pretty much over the cap, so they're all going to have that same exception to offer him. So it really comes down to it. If a contender, I can't think of one off the top of my head that needs. So don't. Let me just throw this out. Let's say the Dallas Mavericks. Yeah. Let's say they decide to throw their full mid-level exception. The Bulls are also throwing their full mid-level exception. It really comes down to what Mitchell Robinson wants and looks at and thinks is his best option. Coming off the bench for the Chicago Bulls, still getting probably about 20, 22 minutes, are starting for the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah,
I'm telling you right now, it's going to be starting. All money being the same is going to be starting. It's going to be starting in Dallas.
It's going to be tough. That's like we talked about yesterday, right? Like, just trying to convince Mitchell Robinson to come here. There's no connection that I know of. Is he connected to any of the players here? I don't think there's any connection here.
I don't know about agents. Maybe somebody shares the same agent. Maybe.
And what is that really? Like, I know ones that have, like, there's ones in the NBA that have shared the same agent. They be like, I've never met him. Yeah, you know what I mean, like, dang, you ain't never met him. Y'all ain't never walked in the office at the same time. But so I think Mitchell Robinson. I'll say this: I think Mitchell Robinson could be a tougher get than Rudy Gobert. Because I think Utah isn't going to move off of Donovan Mitchell no matter what. And they might be more inclined to move Rudy Gobert for a package like the Bulls could offer, even if it's a Kobe White, if it's a P. Will, if it's a whatever it may be, then Mitchell Robinson just up and deciding, hey, this team that went out in the first round, I want to join them. Like, I mean, even like think about teams that were below us. Like, Mitchell Robinson might want to go to Charlotte and start with LaMelo Ball.
That's a really good
Mitchell Robinson.
Now they may get their big in the draft. They may draft Mark Williams, but
we'll
I get
see
what you're saying with
we'll see. Mitchell Robinson might want to go to Brooklyn if they got a mid-level exception to offer, because guess what? KD. And I already live in New York.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know if the Bulls are the most enticing in that situation.
That's a fair point. I agree with everything you said there. It really just comes down to, I guess, the negotiation and how much AK and Eversley can sell them on what the Chicago Bulls plan is.
AK negotiating, sign the contract.
or die.
Kill him.
All right, let's get into the next voice.
Hi, my name is Robert Schwartz. This is for
Robert.
Haize and Pat, the designer. I think if the Bulls get Rudy Gobert and Mitchell Robinson, I think they could be a contender in the East because you got two good bigs that can put the ball in the basket and they can get the rebound. Then you get Lonzo coming back whenever he's healthy. Then if you can lock up Zach, then we're going to have a good team if they can do that.
Okay. Hey, listen.
That can put the ball in the basket and they can get the rebound. Then you get Lonzo coming back whenever he's healthy. Then if you can lock up Zach, then we're going to have a good team if they can do that.
All right. Hey, shout out to Robert on that one. Listen.
That's a scenario
First
we
of
didn't
all,
think about, to be honest with you.
He said Mitchell Robinson and Rudy Gobert.
Talk about spacing.
Hey, at that point, you're just saying, listen, we are going to overpower
we're the
you.
Bucks. We're the Bucks.
We're going to overpower you for 48 minutes.
Stop
it if you want to.
Here's the weird part. They could do it.
We always say, hey, listen, we gotta hold ourselves accountable to what we say. We always say AK and Eversley can do something it probably will do something completely unexpected. That would fit that bill. Absolutely.
So what is Rudy at this point, right? 35 mil. You're talking about Vooch, Kobe, and what? Is it P. Will? Are you losing P. Will in this? I don't know. If P. Will is the deal, I'm gonna be honest with you. You're probably not making a move.
Yeah.
But let's say P. Will. Vooch, Kobe, and P. Will. That's what you're sending there. So basically Vooch, Kobe, and a pick. Or Vooch, P. Will, and a pick. Because Kobe, that's pretty much all he's valued for. And you get Rudy Gobert back. Your starting lineup is Lonzo, DeMar, Zach, Gobert.
They would have to go out and get somebody else in free agent. Like
Ayo?
No, Ayo.
No. It's a small lineup with Rudy Gobert. Bunch of dudes that can shoot with Rudy Gobert.
Marco at that point?
Maybe Marco. Marco might be the 4 in that situation. That might not be bad. That's still a tall lineup. I ain't gonna lie to you. But that'd be a weird switch up from like we don't trust them to like now we got no choice.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes that happens, bro.
And then Mitchell Robinson off the bench.
Jesus.
I'll tell you what, Mitchell Robinson probably is more inclined to join that team than the one we got now.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this right now, the Bulls will lead the NBA in blocks. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely. And second chance points more than likely as well. Yeah.
Is it the worst situation in the world?
No. You know what? I don't hate it.
I don't hate it, bro.
I know somebody's gonna be like, but Haize, what about floor spacing? Listen here.
It's
over. We don't at that point, we forget the floor spacing. Like I said, we're overpowering you for 48 minutes straight.
Point, it's only like at that point you become the team that Jim Boylan wanted to build. I'm using the air quotes if you're listening, because it's literally like shoot threes and get rebounds. You're becoming that team that he wanted to build because Zach's going to shoot, DeMar's going to shoot, and they're going to rebound.
Here's the thing. We keep talking about this 18th overall pick. The Bulls can trade their 2027 pick.
How much? You know what? I'm not in the NBA. It doesn't hurt me as much.
Yeah.
Moving on from draft capital.
Oh man, I don't know. All I can say is, hey, listen, Rob, if that ends up happening, bro, I've seen nothing. Nothing in regards to that. If that happens, we gotta send Robert a t-shirt or something.
We gotta send
him something.
We gotta get some Locked On Bulls merch printed up, man. We gotta send Robert some stuff because that's a heck of a job if you get on that one, brother.
That is
the wild part, right? Like me and you were like, and then like we thought about it, we was like, it's not the worst deal I've heard this offseason. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like,
listen, that the rim protection and rebounding that we needed, hey, that's all fixed, bro. Like immediately, everything. Can you imagine having a player that almost averaged, like, because Rudy Gobert, it was almost 3 blocks per game, right?
Yeah. And Mitchell
And then
Robinson
another
got 2.
player that averaged 2 blocks per game for their career. Bro, we blocking
Hey,
everything. We may
hey,
break a record.
I kind of like the scenario. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That's crazy, man. All right, let's get into our last voicemail from today. This is another one from Jamal.
What's up? What's up, Pat? What's up, Haize? It's your boy Jamal back again with another voicemail for you guys. As always, leaving this voicemail because I wanted to get you guys the top 5, maybe top 10 moments of the Chicago Bulls season, whether it's a play or a certain moment outside of the game that y'all really enjoyed. But what was your top 5 or 10 moments that y'all really enjoyed from the Chicago Bulls season? I do have a stipulation though. I feel that the DeMar DeRozan buzzer beaters obviously would have been, if you separate them, would be number 1 and 2 respectively. So I say due to the fact that they were on back-to-back days in different years and different cities and all that other stuff, I say that we keep those as just one giant play together, because I know that's probably going to be number 1 by itself. So I say the back-to-back buzzer beaters be one whole thing instead of it being 2 separate things, me personally, and I hope you guys see over that as well. So that way it gives other moments a chance to make it in that top 5, top 10 that you guys do. So let me know what your moments are, what some of your favorite moments were, and also why you love those moments specifically.
All right. Top moments from the Bulls season. I don't know if I can get 5 off the top of my head. What about you, Pat? I'll get into mine.
I wouldn't even put DeMar's first buzzer beater on there. Like the back-to-back thing is cool, but let's be real. He had no idea how much time was left on the clock in Indiana.
None.
So DeMar in Washington is that's probably 2 for me. I'm sorry. Bulls won a playoff game. That's the number 1 moment. Bulls won game 2 in Milwaukee. That's the number 1 moment. Won a playoff game. Number 2 is probably DeMar's buzzer beater. Number 3, also from the playoffs, Derrick Jones Jr. posterized Giannis, and nobody talks about that. We just kind of swept that under the rug. I mean, clean, body to body. Meet me at the top. 4 would probably be, I don't even know if y'all saw this, right? I think it was versus Charlotte. There's somebody, and I remember calling it out during the game. There's somebody that says, Zach, he can't guard you. And Zach immediately takes off and 2-hand power jams it past, I believe, Mason Plumlee.
Okay.
It was one of my favorite moments. And 5 is the absolute shutdown job for me that Trae Young did, or that Ayo did on Trae Young.
Ooh, that is absolutely on my list as well. What Trae Young, what Ayo did to Trae Young twice. Now Trae Young did come back the third
2.5 games,
yeah,
brother.
2.5. You're right.
Second half of that game, he got hot.
Yeah. Another one is Ayo with that dunk in Indy, bro.
That was a good one.
That's just and another moment. Listen, I know this has nothing to do with when Ayo Dosunmu and Derrick Rose checked into the game at the exact same time.
That was
when
a
we
good
played
one.
the Knicks. That was I don't get goosebumps very often, bro. That was a special moment. And then Ayo even guarding Derrick Rose there. I think he only guarded him in 1 or 2 possessions. It's just something eerie about that. Let's see what else I can go to. The game in which did DeMar and Zach both score 30 at least 30 in a game or something like that?
So. Yeah,
that game. Because it was the game where they were walking off the court. They had the fake flu shot
photo.
photo. That was definitely a moment. But I think ultimately, DeMar DeRozan having his best statistical season in the Bulls uniform this late in his career is absolutely that's a series of moments. But I got to mention that one because it was just great. It was amazing to see DeMar DeRozan this season.
What was the game where DeMar knocked down a big shot, and then was that the Clippers game where he walked off like he was Rembrandt?
Oh,
yeah. He walked off like he was a blessed painting from the 16th century.
Yeah. Didn't somebody meme that with the 16th?
They did, bro. And I was
yeah.
mad because I was like, I kept thinking it, but I was like, man, I gotta find a picture like this, and I just never looked. And I seen somebody do it, and I was like, you beat me to it, you
mother. Yeah.
Good moments this year, man. It was a fun season.
This was a fun season. Yeah, I mean, it sucks the way that it ended, right? But this was a super fun season, bro.
Hey,
And you know,
we didn't even
shout out to
compete.
Jamal for asking that, because that just really put me in just like thinking about how fun this is. Patrick Williams, the game in Minnesota, last game of the season. I know it was against, you know, not their starters or anything, but seeing Patrick Williams flash that skill and just have that game
Yeah.
just felt good as well. To see that game for Patrick, considering everything that he went through as far as getting hurt 4 games into the season, coming back, like
Yeah.
that was just a good moment to see as well for the young guy.
No, 100%. 100%. I loved it, man. I definitely loved it.
Yeah. Hopefully we have many more seasons ahead, bro.
Yeah, let's not do a Knicks next year, bro. That's gonna be a tough.
Oh, bro, come on, knock on wood, man. Come on, let's
I don't
find
even got
something,
none.
bro.
Hey, you
Dang.
got it.
Yeah, like we got it. We got
Hey,
to
man, let's
fix
get
that.
up out of here, bro.
Yeah, man. Go ahead, give it to him, brother.
Hey, follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Also follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. We got stuff dropping on the Twitter and the IG. Hilarious stuff, bro.
Bro, playing Team Corinthians. That's funny, man. But follow me at CEO Haize, CEO Haize. And thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls today. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. Now for your second listen, I need you to go and check out Locked On NBA Big Board. Listen, I listen to them all day today, and what I can say, what Rafael Barlow is doing over there is he's creating encyclopedia when it comes to NFL draft content. That's the man to go to, man.
Mad knowledge.
Like seriously, I don't use that word lightly. That dude sees the NBA draft on the level I wish I can understand the NBA draft. So y'all make sure y'all go and check that out. They're available wherever you get your podcast. But that is it from us for today. Be safe. Oh, that's your line. We love you guys, man. Peace, y'all.
Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Peace.